Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Integrity IPG podcast. This is episode 12. My name is Jordan Pahalik. I am one of two co-hosts, and joined with me, like every week, Dylan Webkenberg, CFP. Don't want to leave that out as well. How are you doing, Dylan?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good myself. So, we got an episode about teaching kids about money early
Yep.
and the importance of that.
And it is important. I have
Yeah.
a couple stories myself about pretty much why I became a financial planner. And I think a lot of it has to do with my parents and the way that they taught me and my brothers about money way back
Yeah.
when. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's every new parent, or just parent in general, I feel like understand the importance of it, because once you have a kid, that's like the only thing that I feel like matters at that point anymore, is putting them in the best possible spot
Mm-hmm.
moving forward. And what more to do that than teaching them good financial habits early.
Right.
So what would you say is one of the more, and you might be able to tie in some of those stories, but
Yep.
what is the importance of leading by example with money when it comes to your kids?
Well, this is almost like outside of financial planning, but like kids are like sponges and they mimic what their parents do, basically.
Yep.
So if you just bring that concept and apply it to finances and financial planning, it's the exact same idea. Your kids see you save, or they see you try and be frugal with going out to dinner or just things like that. It's stuff that subconsciously sticks with them for not the rest of their life, but it's stuff that they just see and subconsciously are reasoning with. For me, part of what led me into doing this, being a financial planner, was because my parents let me. They did this like incentive for my brothers and I when we were kids. It was basically like, you save money and you give it to us to save, and like we'll put in your bank account, we'll match it like 100%. So I would do it over and over. And then one time I was in like 6th grade or something, and I saved up like $1,000 and I gave it to my parents, and they were like, all right, we're going to match it. And then we're going to end this program. We're never doing this again, because I like beat the system. But that was one of those things where I was like, I got so excited to save, knowing that I would like double my money just like that whenever I wanted to. I saved up to 1,000. I didn't need to, but I was like, this would be cool to get up to that and then make my parents like pay me $1,000 like they said they would.
Yeah.
And that's 100% a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing right now, telling people like myself to save their money because it's a useful thing. So that's just one of the couple of stories that definitely led me to where I'm at right now.
Yeah. And I feel like I have very similar stuff when it comes to, I feel like there's a lot of techniques that people use, especially with teaching kids the value of money and how it's earned. Everything when it comes to growing up, getting your first job, or doing chores around the house.
Yeah, right. Getting an allowance, sure.
Is always teaching kids that you have to earn it. Nobody's gonna be there to give you money.
Yep.
The older you get. And especially with that story, I think that's kind of funny, because that eventually ties into a lot of people growing up and having jobs, right? You have a 401k, which it's similar, as in like you save
right.
money,
Yeah,
and you
right.
get a match, and somebody.
I never even drew the connection. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, like I was saying, a lot of it is teaching those habits early, because like you said, they're a sponge. And if you can form them to create these tendencies with how they think about money and the relationship they have with it,
100%. Yeah.
that's the best thing that you can do in terms of, building a foundation.
No doubt. I still get excited when I get to add money into my investment account. It genuinely brings me joy. Not only that, but it's like, I'm not just spending money. I'm like investing it in stocks. And then if tomorrow I change my mind, I can like uninvest it and sell it and get it back. It's not like I'm just like buying a couch and then, okay, I'm out of that $2,000. Like, so that's one of the things that helped me really enjoy it and get into it, knowing that I'm buying a stock and I'm like parting with $2,000, let's say. But if like I change my mind and I end up wanting that back, I can do that easily,
Yeah.
Whereas if you wanted to, I don't know, buy a couch or a car or whatever it is, then it's not like as easily sellable or like liquid to get it back. That's another reason why I think I like it so much.
Yeah. And I would think early on, and it all depends on when the parent feels it's appropriate, but like age appropriate chores,
Yeah.
because that is like the baseline of, okay, you are going to have to work and earn your money because that's what the real world is like, but
Mhm.
it's minimal and um
It's more
just
like
yeah,
going through the motions kinda. You know,
yeah,
you don't really need to, like, strain yourself too much, but it's teaching the idea. You work, and then you get paid for that work. Yeah, yeah, right.
yeah, and I think that along the lines of your personal story, it teaches delayed gratification and patience in an era and time that everything is now.
Yeah.
Give me something now. If I'm
Tot
going to do something, I want instant gratification and I don't want to have to wait for it. I mean, it's the story of
Yeah.
this time of if I want to order something online, it was funny. I was at my sister's house over the weekend and she wanted something and she ordered on Amazon and it was at her door in 45 minutes. It's crazy.
Ridiculous.
It's crazy. But it teaches them that something with value or, if you want to buy this $50 toy at the store, you're going to have to do chores for a couple weeks. And then in 3 weeks, if you feel like you're ready to part with that money and buy the toy, it's up to you.
Mhm.
You worked for that money and you can do
Totally.
that, or you can show them, maybe you want to wait a couple more weeks and get this or
Yeah, yeah,
that. And
right.
it's showing them the value of money as well as things that are worth it take time.
That instant gratification thing that you said is so perfect and so true, and it's probably why our friends or other people out there are investing in crypto, and they're picking individual stocks, and they're gambling with the stock market, essentially. It's things like that. They want instant gratification. Um, we could try to tell them or sell them the, like, unsexy version of just dollar cost averaging into an index, which diversifies you and it kinda covers all your bases, and then if you do that over 30 years or whatever, then you'll be in a good spot. Like, that whole big picture idea is so unattractive to people because it takes time and nobody wants to just take time to as bad as it sounds, most people don't want to take time to get better at something. They want instant
Yeah.
gratification and they want to be able to just get lucky and boom, one quick hit, which is crypto or picking stocks or penny stocks if people still do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, just to kind of tie it into like what we do, that's a huge thing. People
Yeah.
100% are searching for that, and it's like usually I think to like their detriment. It's not a good thing to be doing that, you know?
Yeah. And what are some of the early life milestones, right? A wedding, buying a house, buying your first car. Those are all things that you need to take time to save and plan for.
Yeah.
And what better way to like really form somebody's mindset into being able or being better at doing that later down the road when your kid is ready for those milestones
Mhm.
is doing that early.
Yeah,
You
right.
want this $50 toy, you're going to have to do chores for 3 weeks. And
Yep.
that is like the foundation of, okay, if I want something, something needs to be done. There needs to be a plan in place and you're just changing their mindset and forming
Totally.
habits at a young age.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think also having like a visual savings, whether that's in a jar or something where they
Mhm.
can see it and watch it grow over time is also very important because kids are so visual, I feel like a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah.
So when you can
Can't
slowly see that jar fill up,
Yeah, right. That's easier to reason with than trying to make sense of like some concept that your parents telling you. But if you can
yeah.
see literal more money pile getting bigger and bigger, then you can be like, oh, this is a good thing. What I'm
Yeah.
doing is a good thing, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, totally.
And obviously, the things that they're going to be interested in buying is toys and stuff like that. And because that's just their age and teaching them the financial consequences or the opportunity cost of
Mhm.
buying one thing or spending their money on one thing
Totally.
is also very beneficial, I feel like, because, okay, you can buy this, but that means you can't buy these 2 or 3
Yeah, right,
things.
right.
And I feel like teaching them that early also changes the way they think of
Mhm.
how it changes the way they think of long term. You start to get older and you understand the opportunity cost with things
Totally.
better.
Especially for like kids, because I feel like they almost with the toy thing, this was totally me. You have like a one-track mind where it's like I'm gonna save up $20 to buy my Pokemon cards and that's it. It's like I need those cards. And it's almost like there's no alternative that was ever even considered, or like what if we do this with the money, or but that's the thing that parents can help do and bring in just different ideas, different alternatives to spending your money. I'm sure this wouldn't really work out, but maybe you should invest it, or maybe you should some
Yeah.
other areas. Because for kids, and especially for me, it was like I'm gonna do this because I'm gonna buy that, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But it's like, well, mom and dad, maybe you should introduce some ifs, ands, or buts about that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think that's actually, and I'm like just thinking about that randomly as you're going over it. It's again, that might not be able to work for somebody who's 6 or 7,
Right.
but you get into like that middle school age, somebody is, I couldn't even tell you what that age is, but like
14 or
11, 12,
something. Yeah.
13, 14, and they have that similar situation where they were to go buy something and spend that money, and you could come back in a couple months and be like, if you invested that, obviously it'd have to be a good period, and not every time, that's not going to work every time, but be like, look what you would have now.
Right.
And it's not like they're going to be like, oh, now I want to invest, but like it just makes them think about that
Yeah.
in the
Right.
back of their
What could
mind.
have
Like,
happened if things went differently?
this is something, that I could benefit off
Yeah.
of. And
Totally.
it's not like they might be super excited to do that at 13, because I don't think, honestly, I would at
Right. No.
13, but it makes you think about it.
Or maybe a way to go about doing it as a parent, instead of like giving a kid $100 for their birthday, they buy them $100 of like Apple stock or something. And then, which again, I know if this was me receiving that as a kid, I'd be like, what the hell? Like, this sucks.
Yeah.
But it's a good teaching moment for mom and dad to help show you that this isn't just a piece of paper. It's an asset and it grows in value, hopefully. It's just another way to go about teaching kids.
Yeah. And then by the time you're 18, 19, you see what that is become.
Yeah, right. And that you can,
Hopefully,
yeah.
that's
Then you truly know.
yeah. And that's when I think you would really spark their interest and they'd be intrigued. And the earlier you obviously, get educated and are knowledgeable about investing and just coming up with a financial plan, I think obviously every parent would want that for their kid.
Yep. And I guess on top of this, is maybe the biggest benefit among everything else, is that like just the earlier you become familiar with dollars and cents and stocks and bonds, and opening up a bank account and opening up an investment account and moving money between the two of them and paying off your credit card, all these things that like everyone does in their real life, everyone had to learn a little bit. And I remember myself, it was a little frustrating having to just learn, how do I operate my credit card with my bank account and that whole thing. So the earlier that you can get into any of those things, the better, just because you'll eventually at some point need to become familiar with it. And yeah, the sooner the better.
Yeah. And I think that's a testament to everything in life. It's
Totally.
how are you going to grow the most and become the best at something? And it's making mistakes.
Yeah.
And especially if you introduce them to things at a younger age and they do it at a smaller scale, you're only setting them up
Yep.
for a better time in the future, because you've gotten some of those tweaks and errors out of the way.
Right. I mean, no one wants to make like mistakes at all. No one wants to make mistakes, especially when it comes to money. So if you are going to do it because you kind of have to, then just do it when you're younger and the scale is a lot smaller and the stakes are lower, and then you can still get that same experience but not have to lose out on anything in the meantime, just to pay for your learning,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say another crucial part of all of it, and I think to what you were saying of like putting something into something once a year for a birthday or something like that, I think that really shows the power of consistency too, where a lot of times it's easy when it comes to finances or money to be like, I'll get to that or I'll do that. But your situation or your mindset is not always the same when that time
Totally.
is supposed to come.
Right,
So
right.
and then it's like, well, I'll get to it again. And you want to do something once a year, once a month. I'll get to that next year. I'll get to it next month. And then that's how
It always just gets pushed back and pushed
it's like
back.
everything else in life.
Yeah,
It's like
right.
the gym or I'll go tomorrow. What does that turn into?
Yeah.
2 weeks of not going. And so, I mean, having a good base of consistency, and it just, again, sets a good foundation for their future.
100%.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Another one would be obviously like teaching the basics of credit and debt. And again, this would be a little bit older, not too young, but that's obviously a huge thing that is important to be familiar with.
Totally. How to use a credit card. Like,
Yeah.
some of my friends thought that the balance on their credit card was like um they're how much they're able to spend or how much they still have to spend. In reality, it was like, no,
Yeah.
this is how much you've already spent and have to pay the it's things like that. Like, and these are 25-year-olds that are
Yeah.
college educated with a degree that didn't know how to use a credit card. So
Yeah.
if you're out there and you're part of that group, don't feel bad about yourself, but just know that, like, these are real things that happen to people. It's
Yeah.
not just, there aren't like really how to's or like instructions when you open up a credit card. Like, anyone can do it super easily. So you got to know what you're doing when you do that.
Yeah. I know people similar
Hey, it's
situations, and
crazy
it's like, again, it's one of those mistakes where you wish it didn't happen, but you have to have a lot of people need something like that to happen to be like,
to
okay,
learn
I've
from
got
it.
to get my stuff together.
Exactly. Yeah.
With that credit card thing, there's things you can do too to have like your kid as an authorized user on a credit card, and that will help them establish
Hmm.
a good credit early on. And that could be something that you could open up at a young age to be like, okay, we're going to pay you for doing chores. And then when that time comes, you can pay with it. And obviously, this will be the parent that
Right.
handles
Right.
things on the back end, but it's a way, again, to help them at a young age establish a credit, because the earlier you do that, the better, while also doing the things we've talked about in the past of teaching good habits,
Hmm. Yeah.
just understanding the value of money. When would you say is a good age to start introducing investing concepts to, and again, very bare minimum,
It's a good question though.
a foundation, just like sticks and bones of,
Ooh, when my first time, like, even looking or being interested in stocks or bonds, I was in 7th grade, and I like remember where I was and what video I watched on YouTube. I remember it very well, and I also remember like thinking, I don't understand any of this right now. So
yeah,
7th grade me couldn't fully grasp it.
yeah,
I think a freshman in high school is a really good spot. And this is investing things. This isn't just like finance in general. There's a lot of financial stuff that a kindergartner can and should learn how to do.
yeah,
But investing in stocks and bonds, and what even are stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, how do they work? You could spend so many time and you could spend so much time, take so many courses that are specifically about it and still not have like a full knowledge of it. But I think you're smart enough when you're like a freshman in high school to really begin
yeah,
to do it on your own, learn on your own, the whole nine. And you're also like, I think you have to be a certain age to even open up your own account, maybe like 18 or something. So,
yeah.
yeah.
And I think it's kind of personally too, growing up, I feel like my dad would do a good job of like pulling me aside, no matter what it was, whether it was just about different financial topics, whether it was about the house and a mortgage, or, um, putting money away into retirement accounts. I feel like he did a good job of showing me like a base level understanding of things. And I think that gave me a head start to a lot of people,
Yeah,
not
totally.
even going deep into the woods, but like just understanding from somebody close to you in your family. So it's not like it's a random one off and you're like, yeah, it's somebody close to you in your life that's giving you good real world examples. I think did a huge difference in my life of the
Totally.
basic understanding of things.
Yeah, if not even like having an understanding, just them introducing topics about stuff that is interesting and new, that made me like want to learn more about it on my own, like regardless. So it was one
Yeah.
thing to actually have a good, decent base understanding from what my parents had told me, but it was also like, I'm now interested to know more about all this stuff because you've already brought so much useful information to me. I want to know
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
So that's part of it too.
And I think obviously we're again moving on to like older kids later in your teens, early 20s. It's important to make sure they're ahead of things, but I think it's also important to make sure they're doing a lot of things individually, whether they have to do something for a car, they're taking out a loan or something. I think it's just important to not be attached to their hip and go in and do a lot of the work for them. you can be on top of them and make sure they're doing the work, but getting them in there to do it on their own, because again, they learn the most by having to do these things. And that's when you really build their confidence
Yeah, totally.
of dealing with strangers in a financial setting. And I just think the earlier you can get people or kids to do that, the better off they will be long term.
Totally. Yeah, totally. Again, it just comes with like the whole comfortability of everything. If you've
Yeah.
experienced it before, then this second time you're not learning from experience. You're not starting from experiencers. I'm sorry, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience.
Yeah.
But that's like anything else, right? If the earlier you can get into something, then the better off you'll be because of that down the road.
Yeah. Is there anything that you wish you knew? Again, we're still young, but at a younger age, or got introduced to at a younger age. I feel like we've both had good situations growing up.
Right.
We've been put into good situations through our families. But is there any one thing that you were like, I wish I started that a little younger?
I wish I started my Roth IRA a little younger, but for everyone out there listening, a Roth IRA is like a tax advantaged retirement account where all the money you put in is after tax, so it's already been taxed by the government, and then when you pull it out down the road in retirement, it's all tax-free money. In my opinion, it's one of the greatest tax advantaged vehicles that someone like us can put money into. You can't start it until you're 18 or until you start working a job, which is usually around 18, 16, 18. And I wish I started mine earlier, basically. Even if I didn't have a job, there's still some end around ways where you can be like an employee for your parents, or there's basically ways where people younger than employment age could start and fund a Roth. And I wish I did, because I would have had 5 more years of $7,000 contributions, and then those contributions all have those same 5 more years of compound interest. So it just would have been that much better, I guess.
Yeah. Do you believe it's important kids pay for, obviously not all, but like we've talked about, some of their wants, whether it's toys or games, whatever it may be?
Yeah.
Do you think it's very important that they're
I
that
think
they're
it's
doing that?
yeah, I think it's important. Um, it's I mean, like we've been saying this whole time, it's a good lesson to teach your kids that if you want something, then you have to work for it and then spend your money on that thing. Um, if I'm speaking from experience, then I was definitely someone that like got a lot of stuff without having to work or pay for it. And then there was also specific things that I was like, I want that. I'm gonna save money and get it, basically. And I think it was a good blend for me. I
Yeah.
didn't just have to like I didn't have a terrible childhood where I had to work in the
Yeah.
mines for like 10 hours a day, and then
Yeah.
I could finally afford Pokemon cards. But yeah, it was just a good blend, and I think that yeah, definitely having both sides of it is a good thing.
Yeah. Are there any, trying to figure out how to word this, what habits would you say separate financially successful adults from ones that are not? Does anything come to your mind that's like,
Yeah.
I think those are some of the reasons why these people are very successful financially, and these are the reasons why these people may be lacking a little?
Yes, I think of 2 things. The first one is that successful adults or successful people save their money, like they save 20% of their income. And then the second thing would be those same adults know how much money's coming in each month or each year, and they know how much is leaving each month and each year. They just have a good accounting of actual dollars coming in and coming out. Otherwise, if you don't save money, that's not a good thing, 'cause then there's nothing to actually plan around. It just comes in each year and then goes out the same year because you can't save. And then if you actually do have a good accounting of where dollars and cents are at, you then can identify, let's cut that to save more money, or we're going to have to increase that, but we can offset that with this. It's just, if you have a good accounting, then you know where dollars can come from and where they should go to. So those
Yeah.
2 things put together is a really, really strong financial plan, I think.
Yeah, and like you said, that separates adults that are very successful financially and ones that are not. And those are 2 things that we have stressed and talked about a bunch that you can do with kids early on.
Yeah, right.
You can introduce some sort of, well, here, we'll start with, you can show them the power of saving and building up money.
Mhm.
And then as well of like creating a small little budget for them. If this is something that you want or going to buy, we'll show you the value of it and how much money it is. And this is how much you've been saving. And just showing them money going in and out the door is
Yep, yep.
something on such a small level,
But it's so
holds so
impactful.
much value.
It does. It really does. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else that comes to mind? I know, again, this is a very, base level. There's so much more that goes into.
I think in general, you should just talk to your kids about money and finance. Because like when
Mhm.
people hear like money and politics and religion, and everyone just like tenses up and says, "All right, I'm not talking to you about that." And that's like even within your own family, which is especially crazy. But if you're a parent and you have kids and they haven't even talked to you about money or finance or anything like that, then just talk to them about it. Like, don't make it some hidden agenda where they have to eventually learn about how much family or money do mom and dad have, or just learning little tips and tricks. Like, it's stuff that should be actively conversed about within the household, because you don't want to you don't want any secrets coming up down the road.
Yeah.
It's worthwhile to discuss it now for sure. Not everything, but at least some of
Yeah.
it.
And again, then, like you said, you get small, very minute mistakes out of the way with money that does not make a
Yeah,
difference
right.
at a
Negligible.
young age.
Yep, yep.
And that changes their mindset to where they don't make mistakes with when there's a lot more dollars.
When it's actually real stuff, right?
Yeah. So those are very just simple ways to think about that. There's so many more too. And again, like everything else we talk about, I feel like every episode we'll stop talking and think of 5 more things that could be
Yep.
easily. But there's so many different things online that you could search up of ways to kind of alter your child's mindset at a young age, and it's very important. And I feel like we are benefactors of families and parents that did do it,
Totally. Yep.
and maybe that's what kind of pushed us in this industry. But I think we're both very grateful for it, so it is definitely important to do.
Yep. Well said.
Yeah, so that pretty much wraps this up for episode 12 of the Integrity IPG podcast about teaching kids about money early. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next week.
Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of principal. Diversification does not guarantee a profit or protect against a loss. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Dollar cost averaging involves continuous investment regardless of market conditions and does not assure a profit or protect against loss. Investors should consider their financial ability to continue purchases during periods of declining prices and market downturns. Roth IRA contributions require earned income and are subject to IRS limits. Tax advantages depend on meeting applicable IRS requirements, including holding periods and qualified distributions. Minors may contribute through a custodial IRA if they have earned income. Securities offered through the ON Equity Sales Company, member FINRA/SIPC. One Financial Way, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45242. 513-794-6794. Investment advisory services offered through ON Investment Management Company.